Hello, my people. Welcome to the Empower Series podcast. My name is Clifton Johnson. For those who are new, I want to welcome my viewers in the United States and around the world. We are going to have a good conversation today. Our topic is about taking your dreams and making them reality. You know, I always talk in the Empower Series about ideas in action, and I want you to be a good steward of your ideas. It would dictate how you spend your time and who you spend your time with. Life is simply a manifestation of ideas. Well, we are so blessed because we have a renowned business coach and a consultant who's going to guide us through the process of how to take your dreams to reality and your path to entrepreneurial success. And it's not just entrepreneurial, you go out there and start your own business. There's some entrepreneurs who are in a current company that are practicing the entrepreneurial mindset. So whether you're a startup entrepreneur, an entrepreneur, or just somebody who wants to manifest your ideas, we are blessed to be here with our guest today, Miss Dieshia McAllister. She is going to bless us with wealth of knowledge and information that's going to help us manifest our dreams. So thank you for being a part of the Empower Series.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
So I know that we met at actually a business event where people were speaking out their vision. Yes. Right? And I noticed you because there was just something about the way you carried yourself as well as your coaching. I just felt like you were somebody that I want to connect with, and our collaboration wouldn't just benefit each other, but our collaboration would benefit and bless many, which is what we're doing today. So thank you for taking the time out of your life to be a part of the Empower Series and pouring to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Now, business is a big topic. Mm-hmm. Right, so there's only so much we can get into. I'm diving into this right now, but I really want to talk to you about in the beginning stages, right? Okay. And so we have people who maybe just don't really have an idea what they want to do, but they know they want to start a business, or someone who's actually starting a business might be in the phase of trying to put it together and create systems to become profitable. But then at every stage of a business, there's always a vision of where you want to go. Yeah. And then there's a process to go through it. So I want you to really guide us and talk to us about how do you help people take their dream to reality, and what are some of the steps, the strategies, or the mindset that's required regardless of where you are in the process of starting or building a business?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So when starting a business, first of all, I call people ideapreneurs.
I like that.
Preneurs.
First, you got to take notes. So go ahead, get your pens and paper. We are recording this, but take some notes, and then you got to watch it again because repetition is the mother of skill. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm taking notes. So ideapreneur, is that what you said?
Yeah, sure. You got your pens out, everybody's ready. So exactly, ideapreneurs are those people who are in the stages where they think that they have so many great ideas, they don't know where to start. Just pick 1, 2, or 3 ideas that align with the same industry maybe, and hone in on that. A lot of people take their gifts and talents and hobbies and create businesses out of those. But you can't start serving people, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing we want to do is we're passionate about what we can give. We think we're so great at what we're doing, but you have to do things decent and in order. And the system of things requires us to take a step back from what we want to do and pretty much plan. So planning is the first thing you want to do. You can have all these ideas, but if it's in your head, then how can we duplicate it and it come to fruition? Okay. So the first thing we have to do is plan. That's and when I meet people who are in the idea stages, wherever they are in their journey, the first thing I ask them is, what do they actually want? What is that thing that's they're considering their why? Mm-hmm. Where do they want to go? What is that ultimate vision? And then we want to put that into perspective, because our ideology around certain things may not be the way that it may not help us get to our actual goal. Okay. So our ideology versus our vision, if they align, then the planning will go accordingly and things can come to fruition. But the first thing we want to tackle is what that idea is, figure out the whys, and start planning according to their ideology and their vision.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Here's the process we're going to go through. So first off, we talked about you coaching me, so I'm going to give you a little bit to help. If you want to talk directly to the people, your camera is here.
Okay.
Right, so you can talk directly to them. The other thing I want to start with, though, I think is we all have a journey, right? And I always like to say that there's no expert in the human experience. We're all trying this stuff out. What works for us may not work for somebody else. But what we can do is we can share our experiences with other people in the hopes that our experience would help them look at their situation in a different light, and it would also help them move through life more gracefully. They'll be able to think more effectively and form like an artist the tapestry of their life.
Nice.
So I want to start with you. So tell us a little bit about you. What started you on your entrepreneurial journey? So introduce us to yourself.
Yes, my name is Dieshia McAllister. I have about over 15 years in my entrepreneurial journey. Started out as a beauty industry leader, and then I met a wonderful man who's now my husband in the automotive industry, and we just pioneered through it, right? I was one that had an idea and considered a go-getter in my community, and I actually just, not so much planning went into it though, Clifton. So I definitely went to the school of hard knocks.
Right.
But in doing the wrong things, failure taught me how to do things the correct way, because when you get hit with certain issues and things that you never thought were possible come your way, and you have to persevere through that, it really shows you what you're made of. So that's where I am with coaching and consulting. Like you just said, I always put it into a perspective of roadmap. So your vision may be here on your roadmap, but your ideology may have you going one route, whereas if you meet a coach and a consultant, they can show you different routes to take where you're not hitting certain roadblocks, certain potholes, and then you may get there quicker than you would by yourself.
Okay, I want you to clarify something. You said ideology, and then there was something else that you're comparing.
Vision.
Okay, so explain what ideology is.
Ideology is made up of our culture, how we grew up, the different people we've been around, how we feel about a certain thing, our idea around a certain topic. So most people's idea around entrepreneurship is based on what they can do and not really what needs to be done.
Okay.
And what I mean by what they can do is their gift and their talent. And that's all that they know. And then their ideology may not actually help them get to their actual vision. So that's where, as a coach, we come in and kind of give objective advice against their ideology. You still have the same destination. We don't want you to change your vision. We just want to show you a different route to take so that you don't hit those roadblocks based on your ideology, because some things may not align with your cultural beliefs or your beliefs of based on how you feel about a certain thing because of trauma, things of that nature.
Okay, so what I understand ideology is basically your belief system, your paradigm, a bunch of your experiences kind of have influenced you to think a certain way.
Yes,
right?
And
okay, so
ultimately your decision making.
Got you, and that's not obvious. You got to dig to kind of understand that. Even we got to dig to understand that, because we operate so much on automatic pilot, right? So you said a couple of things that I want to go back to that's really interesting. Number one, I have an aunt who is like my mama aunt. and so her and her husband met in college, and they got married, been together for over 60 years. And she has actually created a publishing company last year to publish her book about her husband. That's a whole other story. Everybody knows about my Aunt Zelma.
Aunt Zelma.
Yeah, Aunt Zelma. But here's the thing, though. Here's what's really interesting. I talked to her about her keys to success, because they had ups and downs. They had many different seasons in their journey. But one of the things that she said, which is her advice, is to pick right.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that you met your husband, came into your life. And that is such an important blessing, isn't it? Because your number one partner, your number one master coach member, your number one consultant is your partner in life. And so talk to me a little bit again about how you started. So you had your own beauty business?
Yes.
Before you were married?
Yes.
And you met your husband, who had his own business as well, or was he just working in the automotive industry?
He was working in the automotive industry leader. It wasn't his own business, but he was definitely in charge of a lot going on. And a part of me felt like, forget all about beauty. I love automotive. This is great. Oh my gosh, you can actually do this with a car.
He had an influence on you, right?
Yes. I went down a really deep rabbit hole with the influence.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think we're talking to somebody right now because, again, our testimony and our experience is speaking to someone. We don't know who's watching, but someone's watching needs to hear this story. That, you had an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
You met somebody that's going to be your partner in life completely. You still have an entrepreneurial mindset, though, right? Even though your interest now begins to, shift, right?
A little bit, yeah.
So tell us about your entrepreneurial journey, though, because did you just come out the box and were you automatically successful? Your ideology was in alignment with your vision? You didn't have any problems?
No.
Oh, no, you did say failure, something like your failure taught you to success. What did you say? Failure to something?
My failure taught me how to succeed, basically.
Yeah. So tell me about your journey there.
I often joke about the school of the hard knocks because when you're in the thick of running your own business, you learn things that you can do wrong, and it's up to us to decide whether to do right. Like you said, choose right. So just being able to choose the right things, and yes, I had hard days, I had long days, but just having that spirit of perseverance, and again, my ideology did not get me to my actual vision. Me being coachable and being a student of my experiences made me see that the way that I think I can get where I want to go is not always the best way to go, but if I continue to learn through people and my experiences, because I don't believe people come around for nothing. I don't believe my husband came along in the midst of where I was in my beauty journey, where I was able to transition into automotive and still continue my beauty industry journey. So just having that experience of knowing that I could make that shift and still be comfortable. And again, I'm talking about 21 years old, 22 years old, and starting my second business and planning my new marriage, and just, we're talking really young, but having that spirit of perseverance. And it comes at different ages. Like you say, your aunt, she's 60 years into a marriage and starting a book. So that could be anyone. And we're talking about dreams coming true. So these certain dreams aren't manifested in you as a teenager or as an older person. So it doesn't really depend on what you've been through. It just depends on who you are deep down inside and if you have that spirit of perseverance. Yeah,
and her book is Seasons of the Journey, the biography of Dr. James Frank. And if you guys want to go to the website, it's drjamesfrank.com. But it's really interesting because if you go back, they actually owned a travel agency at one point together. But they're both in education, and that's how they make their living. Basically, these were other businesses on the side. I do want to talk a little bit about two things before we get deep into the steps of how does someone take their idea to reality. But two things. I want to talk a little bit about your business journey before you were married, because you were a successful entrepreneur in the beauty industry. And the other thing is very, very important is about relationships. And it's not just marriage relationships, because some people who are single, you still got to look at who are you surrounding yourself with, whether it's romantic dating or if it's just business-minded. Relationships and who you spend time with can have a big influence on your success and keeping you focused. So talk to us a little bit about your journey as a single entrepreneur with your beauty business and what you learned in that you want to share with us in taking a dream and an idea to fruition. Like, why did you even start a beauty business? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was always intrigued by the arts and the beauty industry. Grew up with my dad always taking care of my brothers and seeing him cut hair and things of that nature. And I just found my own niche in doing my own beauty maintenance for myself. And I actually went to a college preparatory high school. So I was able to take college courses in high school. So there I took business administration, leadership development, and those type of courses that prepared me right out of high school to either start a business or take it further into college. Okay. And I decided to start a business. My first strategic partner was my high school mate, and her mom had a braiding salon, and her mom wanted to retire out, and they thought, in a nutshell, it didn't go as smooth as this, but in a nutshell, We're teenagers coming out of high school, and her mom felt that with my business knowledge that I would be able to sustain the business, obviously with her help on the side, but she wouldn't be as involved. So that's exactly what got me started. I met my first strategic partner in high school. They inspired me. I started out as their client, and then they end up becoming my first consulting client by helping them transition her mom out into retirement.
Well, that's kind of, so you also talk about planning. And so we are not are always privy to God's plan for us.
Yeah.
And so your plan was really interesting. You were being prepared by taking courses in business where you were able to help someone who's in an existing business, and then you were in the right position to kind of transition and take it on.
Yeah.
It sounds like, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
and you, how long did you stay in that business before the automotive industry caught your attention?
So it was, about 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
About 3 or 4 years. So we did very well. The salon was still operating. And as I'm dating my then boyfriend, who's my husband now, I would just go see him at his lunch break and witness certain projects that they were working on, and just realizing cars in the current condition. Oh, I just saw that car the other day. It was completely crushed up. Now it looks like it's fresh off the showroom floor. And being, and as a, I don't even think I had my license that long, but I was so intrigued by the ability to take a car from the way it was, collision, crushed up, to, I didn't even know that was a thing. So just realizing that it was possible and to transform something the way that they did it, that body shop really inspired me. So those couple of days really changed my life, because we went on to start our own body shop, totally different neighborhood, totally different demographic, different set of clientele, and just pioneered through that and ultimately selling it to what is a franchise now.
Okay.
It just created a ripple effect where my network and the people around me were coming to us, not just because of my age, not just because we were married, but those two unique things about me definitely did attract a lot of people, whereas I would assist them part-time in their businesses. And then I started realizing, Clifton, wait a minute, I think we have something here. Start doing my research, and it's consulting and coaching. This is a thing. So where I was doing it inadvertently, unintentionally assisting people, now I'm living intentional to help businesses get to the next level, and people to find that dream, whether it's to go to the moon, whether it's to retire at a certain age, whether it's to give the business over to their children, whether it's to help a mom become a better mom, or build a network of other mothers. Then I like to leave people better than I found them.
Well, I think it's interesting about your story, and I don't know if this is what I'm catching, and you guys might be catching something different, but I'm catching this. So you started in the beauty industry. You had some basic knowledge of that was perceived as valuable for a business owner that got you started in the beauty industry. Then you were intrigued by watching the process of a car being remodeled or repaired,
yeah.
right? And so your ideology or your vision, your perception of business allowed you to look at that business and saw, oh, that's interesting. And then you and your husband got involved in that business and created a body shop yourself, and you built it to being of some value to where it was now franchisable.
Yes.
And so I think it's interesting, and now you're looking at, you have a skill set that is helping other business owners, and you see that there's value in the marketplace in providing that advice to help other business owners be successful in manifesting their vision or their ideas, because there's a system to all of this.
Yes.
And that system works in any business. One of the things I think was interesting, I was talking to this gentleman named Michael Roberts. He's part of the Roberts brothers. He's from St. Louis, and he's been very successful in business as well. But he said the game he likes to take sometimes is just taking this and says, okay, let's look at this and let's identify all of the businesses that had to come together to create this product. So you have the business that actually creates this, whether it's some sense of metal or tin. Then you have the molding that, the company that does the molding for different types of products and molded this. You've got the paint or the ink or whatever it is that makes it color. You got the engraving company. you've got the rubber on the back. You know, so there's a number of different businesses that have come together to put this product out. And you can be anywhere on the line of it. And so one of the ideologies is to realize as individuals, we can definitely work for somebody else, and that's not a problem because any successful business need employees.
Yeah.
But if you have a vision or a calling to be an entrepreneur, which God has put that in you,
Yeah.
then the whole world is your library
It is.
of what you can do. So I want you to step us through the mindset that someone has to have to be successful in just taking an idea and making. And we can look at the Empower series if you want. You know, the Empower series was an idea.
Yes.
I had a dream Saturday I'll tell you about later on, but either take me through one of your clients or you can ask me about the Empower series so that we can give our viewers an experience of what it's like to actually take an idea and then create a viable business from it.
Yes. So in doing my research, I realized that you were inspired by your uncle. And you wanted to, it was one statement that he made that made you feel like, hey, wait a minute. I think, and that's exactly what I dealt with. I saw the process for crash cars and bringing them back to life. So it takes just one thing inside of you to be inspired. So being inspired, it doesn't matter where we are, where we come from, there is something around us that will inspire us. And for Empower Series, it was a statement that your uncle made.
So I laugh because it's hard. So the first thing you have to do is identify your why.
Yes.
Right? So this is an example of that. And I would tell you that I had to really, all of our whys, I believe, has a lot to do with our childhood. And so I can even go back to my mother and father and how involved they were in the community. Like, why do I have this interest to do something for our community? And it's definitely the people I was around. I started with my mother and father being very involved with us as a family, but then our neighbors. And it wasn't just us, right? We were concerned about our neighbors and our community and how can we be a positive influence, whether individually as our lives or what we did. And I shared a story about my mom one time, starting what's called the Madden Avenue Athletic Club. So we're in the hood, right? Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips territory, right? South Central LA. And my mom is taking, all of us, the boys and the women and the girls, and saying, hey, let's get in shape. So we're doing push-ups and sit-ups on our front yard. We're doing relay races around the block. And she's a creative, and she's doing a lot of different programming in our neighborhood. And then when she worked for a little bit for a daycare center, she did programming there. And so I'm growing up with these models of seeing how it's not just me.
Yeah.
And I want to be of value. And when I went to college and got my degree in business, I didn't really get accepted to the business school the first time around at the University of Washington. I was a point away from my minimum GPA.
Oh, no.
So in my appeal, I actually said that I wanted to learn this information so that I can go back to my community and help other people be successful in what they wanted to do, whether it was career-wise or starting a business, because the education is a big part of that, and I saw that being lacking.
Yeah.
And so growing up, and then when my mom and dad passed away in my 20s, being around my uncle and aunt, who were so involved in collegiate athletics and education, and just observing my uncle, what he did, and then realizing the comment that he made, because when I was asked that question, why did I start this? I connected the dots, right? The opportunity to really help and show leadership, to improve somebody's lives and to make a difference. And I believe we can all make a difference. So I do have a long story. I do have a compelling reason to create an entity that is a positive force in our community and ensure that I'm practicing the basic principles of business to ensure that it's sustainable and it continues long after I'm gone.
Yeah.
Right, but there's different reasons. Some people want to make money from it. Definitely this needs to be profitable so it can continue. But I definitely have other interests like real estate, financial planning, that I want to make money to support my lifestyle as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, that's a long story, but go ahead.
That has to include it. So to go back to what you were asking about, what you were saying about your uncle and how he inspired you, for you to be inspired, you have to have a heart for others. We're here to serve others. Our gifts and talents are to serve a purpose. And that purpose can't be served without having a need. So when you say you were inspired by your uncle, you first had to have the heart to be inspired, and then you have to have the mind to use that inspiration to move forward. And those are people, ideapreneurs. Those are people in the idea stages. So
like
relating you to the situation where people are just starting out, or they may be at a corporate job and they see that their intellectual property is way more valuable than the role that they're playing. So when we talk about intellectual property, these are the natural abilities that we have where we are able to apply value to a certain role, but it's going outside of that actual role. So you mentioned earlier where people are maybe in a job and they have an entrepreneurial spirit. When you find yourself being able to apply or go outside of your actual role, those are certain indications that you may have something.
Yeah, I got you. And everybody has that. So I love the fact, ideapreneur. I want to say that right.
Ideapreneur, and it's not a word. I made it up.
Oh, that's you going to coin that. You need to protect that intellectual property. So you have that, and I would say that exists in many people. The desire to see value in the marketplace and to help people, right, in many different ways. It's endless. When you look at all of the different ways that we can add value to others and do it in a way that can be profitable.
Yes.
Right, and people can make a living from. So part of it is to having a heart to want to serve and be of value, and then picking an idea of what it is. How do you help people identify what it is? Now, I'm talking to somebody who just says, I want to be a business owner. I'm having a hard time figuring out what I'm going to do. I know that may not be your ideal client that you're working with, but if someone's watching this and they're saying, yeah, I want to be in business too, but I don't know what I want to do. How do you help somebody in that phase?
Well, what is that thing? What is the thing that you could do all day, every day without, what takes up your time? For some people, I know DJing, they could be behind the music and mixing music all day long, or someone can do hair all day long without even worrying about the time passing. What are you doing with yourself that can be monetized, that you really, really love doing? Whatever that is, that should be the focus. And if you're not good at it, there's education around it. If you want to be better, there's education around it to help you become better. And then you go into your community and survey them and find your target market. And from there, the sky's the limit.
Okay, so I'm going to help break this down. So first off, you have to have a heart to serve, right? And I just want to make sure that we're inclusive too, because some people may not want to take on the risk of owning a business, and they feel comfortable just doing whatever their job description says they need to do, right? But if you know that you want to do something bigger, right?
Yeah.
You feel like there's a calling, and your vision or your idea is bigger than you, and it needs to impact more people than just your employer. Then it's about what is that going to be? What is that one thing within you? So there's a process of identifying what's your thing. What do you get lost in, right?
Yes.
Like what can you do and you look up and you lose track of time?
Yes.
And if you don't know what that is, maybe ask people who are close to you.
Yes.
What do they think your skill set
Yes.
is? You know, what do they think you will be good at?
Yes.
But you've got to spend some time to narrow that out, because it's in you. God has put it in you. You've got to find out what that is.
Yes.
Right. And so that's step number 2. And then you said once you identify that, or even get education around it, then do some research around it.
Yes, you still
Right.
want to survey people to see how can your product or service that you'll be providing, every area is different, every demographic is different. I've lived in 5 different states in 5 years. There are people right in the state over from us that have a totally different mindset, culture, the way they show up at work, the things that they talk about with one another, what's taboo to them, what's not taboo to them. I know there are certain things that are not appropriate to talk about at work in certain states, whereas in other states it's appropriate. So you just have to, I want to say, get in where you fit in, but know what that looks like.
Right.
You know, your network is your net worth. Can't say it enough. So the people around you create that, right? You can't provide a product or service to yourself. So when you understand who your target market is, whatever that product or service is, you want to first survey your community and the community that you want to be in. If you want to be in South Central LA, what do they like when it comes to your product or service? Why go in it all in your head and just think that what you know is right? I had a vision and this is what it's supposed to look like. No, just like God gave you something in your spirit to serve in some capacity, there are people to serve that can tell you how to serve them. So why, again, in your own ideology, think that you know how to serve them without asking them what is it they actually need?
So that's interesting, because I do talk to a lot of people who have ideas and they're passionate about it and just jump in and start doing it without doing the research. People talk to me about starting a nonprofit, and my advice to them is, so what do you want to be doing? What do you want to be a nonprofit in? I said, so are you involved with other organizations that are already doing that?
Yes.
So that's the first step. Learn, get involved and look at it not just as a volunteer, but look at it as running it, to learn. What are they doing, and what does it take to really create a sustainable nonprofit and providing the services that they're doing? Because you might find that that's not what you want to do.
Exactly.
Right? I
was going to say, you really remind me of one thing that I mentioned to a lot of different ideapreneurs, or 80%, you'd be surprised. I serve, so I coach businesses that are established, have a certain amount of revenue, they have skin in the game, they understand what it's like to hire and have staff and deal with business and have a certain revenue.
Right.
But when I talk to, there's 80% of people that I come in contact with every day are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, maybe 5 to 10 things, and not even thinking about the things that they should be doing. So when you think about how much time that is going into that, you start to realize that, hey, people really are using their gifts and talents, and they haven't taken a step back to do that market research. Only the market can determine how successful you're going to be. It will tell you, history tells us what finances are going to be. We think it's based on the economy, but actually how we project finances based on history. So when you understand that, then you have to go back to the drawing board of whoever you're serving and realize what they are actually looking for.
Right.
And go outside and try to build something around that, as opposed to trying to reinvent the wheel and then it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, so it goes back again to where someone, if they're in the very early formations of an idea, and is seeing if this is something that they can start a business with. The steps again is you got to have a heart to serve in that area. Find out what that one thing is that you're going to do, but then do the research. And I gave you the example with my nonprofit, and people come to me because just 2 weekends ago, Brent Reeves was talking about his story about Smokey Johnson, his father. Yeah. So first off, his father was doing all kind of stuff, right? He had a roofing business, he had an insurance business, and then he had some other kind of business. But then what he did to his clients is he always gave them a smoked turkey, as a gift. And then all of a sudden, he found that he had 100 smoked turkeys in his living room. And people were calling him for more smoked turkeys than his business, right? And so a friend told him that, dude, you should get into the restaurant business. He didn't know anything about the restaurant business, but what he did, he knew somebody who was in the business, and he worked for them for a period of time to understand what the business was like. So doing the research, and what he did, he had another job. So Brent said he actually put on overalls and worked for 2 hours in the morning in the restaurant business, then took the overalls off and then did his other job.
Yeah.
Until he understood enough about the business and how to run it. So that might be a great opportunity for someone to go to a coach. And again, your ideal clients might be more established, but if someone's looking for someone to help them in the early stages of an idea to see if it's even viable, what type of resources are available to help people take that idea and see if it's really a good idea to start a business with?
Clifton, that's a really great question. So first, going back to the young man's father going into the actual business and getting experience by doing the actual work. Sometimes most times, experience is our best teacher. So I don't know where I read it, but it was in one of these books I've been reading, that the best value you can get is by going to do the work. So sometimes you get a job to learn and not a job to get paid.
Yeah.
So of course you're going to get paid. You have to get paid, but sometimes we have to go allow experience to be our best teacher. And if you find that time is not on your side, then you can always hire a professional to help you and just reverse the roles. Whereas as opposed to getting paid, you can pay someone to focus on you and your goals, and that looks like reaching out to a consultant or a coach. Because as a coach, my title is a coach, we only make suggestions. We don't do anything hands-on. But the difference from a coach and a consultant is a consultant will actually come into your business and help you on your day-to-day tasks and kind of see exactly what's going on. I can see as a coach from the outside looking in, I have ways of looking up, getting the data that I need to help a small business owner get to where they want to go. But before they're even established, the need is still there, right? So we consider that an actual consultant, someone who's going to come in, help you do things hands-on, kind of take on your vision as their own and help you with the day-to-day.
That's a great analogy. And so again, I really intend to give people who have an idea that they want to get into business a roadmap, right, of what they can follow. And so what it sounds like is that if you're at a phase where you feel like you have an idea and it's viable, you need to get additional information,
Yes.
right? Because if you had all the information, you would do it, right?
Yeah.
So you definitely need more information. So multiple sources you can go. You can definitely read. Knowledge is everywhere, and knowledge is free. It's free if you go to the library. You know what I mean?
YouTube University.
YouTube University. I mean, you have to seek it out. And then we talked about the Small Business Administration, and they have resource partners.
Yes.
So whether it's SCORE that provides free mentoring and low-cost classes, whether it's a Small Business Development Center, which does have business consultants and low-cost classes, the Women's Development Center, or VPOC for veterans. So there are all these resources that are underutilized that a person can go to and acquire more information than what they have today, but they have to seek it out. But I want to get very clear, because you made a great distinction between a coach and a consultant. And we can all think about like sports. You know, you have a coach, right?
Exactly.
Coach is coaching you, got a game plan,
Not just for sports.
but he or she are not in the. She's not making the shots, right? So I think it's a great analogy. As a coach, a coach can give you certain information that is critically important in helping with the game plan and what needs to be done to be executed. But the coach is not executing that.
No.
You are, right? Consultants will bring more skin to the game, they'll roll up their sleeves and they'll do some work for you based on the level of consulting that's being purchased, right? Let's go back. What's a mentor then? Because SCORE provides free mentorship. And I think mentorship is something less than a coach. How would you define a mentor?
So I'm glad you actually brought that up, because when in coaching, we provide some sort of consulting, we provide some sort of mentorship. It depends on what that arrangement and that business needs. But coaching itself is strictly just making suggestions. Consulting is hands-on, day-to-day in the business with you, adopting your vision, and doing certain things that need to be done hands-on. Mentorship, however, is no different than your teacher, your dad, or your mother helping you break through your current ideology to help you see a different side of things or bigger picture. Consultants and coaches do the same exact thing, but a mentor is more of a person that you can call, you can reach out to, and ask even about your life. Consultants and coaches consider those type of topics as well. However, mentors are, I would say, a closer relationship and a closer bond.
On a personal basis too.
More of a personal basis.
Because they're usually not getting paid to be a mentor, right?
Exactly.
You're getting paid to be a coach and a consultant, but mentorship is a big factor of your network.
Yes.
Like you said, so if you don't have people around you right now that can be your mentors in a certain field of interest, then now you've got to determine, how do I expand my network and start developing relationships with someone so that they can feel willing to invest time
Yes.
and not get compensated,
There you go.
right?
There
Okay,
you go. So
that's a good point.
they're spending more time, and then I would say it's not as structured. Because this person, a mentor, you should be able to call when you're having a bad day. Of course, you want to be able to tell your consultant and your coach if you're having a bad day, but the execution of that relationship is a lot different.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things to where if you start with mentorship and then you go to coaching, coaching includes everything that a mentor provides plus some.
So I'm glad you looked at it as a tier, because
Right.
we like to say at McAllister Enterprise, we like to consider it a graduation.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So first you learn how to be coached and have objective and take objective advice. You become coachable. You learn how to be a student through mentorship. Because if you're a self-starter, a lot of times your last action is to ask someone else.
Right. You'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Now, and then we have that ultimate vision. So we think that people don't understand what it takes to get there. We just have the vision. You don't know what I see. So we get caught up in our head. One of the biggest things that I do for small business owners is to teach them to get out of their head and make their processes and systems duplicatable.
Yeah.
The only difference between you and me and a commercialized major business that's making billions of dollars is that guy that had that great idea, he just put things on paper, and so many people have been put in place, and there are roles that have been created around all those hats that he would wear if he never created a system that was duplicatable.
Yeah, and I think, so once we get past this point, I think the next part of it is a business plan, because putting your ideas on paper, critically important, and then taking the next level of documenting your systems.
Yes.
Documenting your business objectives. That's the process I'm in right now with my Empower series, but we'll talk about more about that later.
I know.
So here's the thing though, I think, this is where I'm at, and I'm hoping that if you're watching this, there are no accidents, this is where you are too. It is so critically important to get that mentorship and to prepare yourself for coaching. I'll use Brent for another example. So Brent and Juan, who are the owners of Smoky John's, are very successful, right? They make over $1 million in their catering business alone, right? And they have all these other things going on. But he has a coach. He sought out a coach. He sought out a mentor because he wants to get better. And so his coach and his mentor is a person that is making $14 million in catering.
Yeah.
So there's no level of greatness that can't be exceeded.
Yes.
Right? So even if someone's making $14 million, there's somebody making more.
Yes.
And so the way you find coaches and mentors who are doing things better than you, there's a process to that, but you begin by expanding your network and at least find people who are successful as a mentor, because those mentors usually have coaches.
Yes.
And they can refer you. And to your point, you got to be prepared to take advice and be open to that, right? Because I'm sure you had to. Your clients can always fire you, but there's some situation where you got to fire your clients, right?
Oh, yes.
If they're not listening to you.
We do coach everyone, and actually we have a vetting process to make sure they're coachable.
Yes.
Make sure we're going to have fun together.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we are going to get a return on their investment. So I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want you to waste mine, and I don't want it to be any guessing.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we're going to have fun together, but we're going to have fun together accomplishing your dreams, making your dreams come true. And whatever that may start out looking like, Clifton, I can tell you a lot of times it changes, whereas people start to see things happen that they never thought were possible, or realize things that they just never thought about, and then the end goal changes. Maybe they extend it or they shorten it. I've had several clients that decide that they want to stay in their business where they thought they came to me to exit their business.
Yeah.
But then that's a dream that wasn't even realized yet, because they didn't know the possibilities until they sought out that help. So just being able to ask, and there's a lot of a humble person is able to ask for help. It's only an ego and pride where you think that you know it all.
There you go. Or the more you know, the more you find out you don't know.
The more you know, the more you find out you don't know. Absolutely. So we professionals, consultant coaches, and people who take the time to be, because a mentor could be your basketball coach. You may not ever want to be a basketball star, but this guy may, like you said, your network is your net worth. So he may be able to speak to some things inside of you that can bring your dreams to fruition. So you just have to hone in on those relationships and be open. A lot of people take pride in saying they're introverted, oh, they just want to stay to themselves. But I don't want to sound too cliche, but the power is literally in the people. You don't know what you don't know, and if you don't ask, then how can you get the information? Luckily, we live in a world where we can just Google whatever we want to, and it comes up in 2.5 seconds.
Right.
But it's nothing like reaching out to someone that has been through it with you. Like you said, I'm at 14,000 and my mentor is at 14 million.
Right.
So he'll be the best person to show me how to work his 14 million backwards.
So
right?
And I'll tell you this. So I'll use some personal examples. One that I just thought of recently. Jeff Flanagan's a friend of mine. We played football together at the University of Washington.
Okay.
But he's doing great things, right? And a lot of times when I look at who speaks at the Empower Series, I use my relationships. So Jeff, he's now running Kevin Hart's organization, but his journey, started where he was just doing parties, right? He was a Sigma doing parties, and then he went into like working with rappers, and he just, he's a trailblazer in the music distribution industry, but he's very high on the success level, right? So I reached out to him because I had this idea of the Empower Series, and I said, hey man, can you be my mentor? And he said, sure. And he actually came and spoke at the Empower Series back in 2014. But one of the things he said when he was talking to people there, and they were coming up sharing their ideas, they weren't really prepared. And he said, look, I have no problem helping people. I have no problem when people come to me asking me for help. But if you ask me for something that you can Google and find out, it's a waste of my time.
Dig a little deeper.
He said, information is free. And when you said Google it, that kind of reminded me of what his comment was.
Yeah.
And then you got to be prepared, because this lady was talking about, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And he said, well, be focused. She said, yeah, well, I need money to do it. He said, I need to be an angel investor. He said, well, you sit in front of an angel investor. Talk to me.
Yeah.
And she wasn't ready.
Are you ready? Yeah.
She wasn't ready. So I say that to say, you giving some of your business clients the advice of documenting their business objectives and their processes. Even before that, when you have this idea, you've done your research, you feel like this is a viable business that you can put in the marketplace and get compensated for it. People jump into it without doing a business plan.
Yes.
But that's critically important, because it makes you think about things that you wouldn't necessarily think about. And if you did a business plan and you run into problems, you can go back to that business plan and see where you haven't executed.
Exactly.
And I'm talking to myself right now.
It's a reference.
Yes, because one of the things when I look at my business plan for the Empower Series, in our model, we get revenue not from people paying for services. We get revenue from donations.
Yes.
Because all of this ain't free.
Yes.
Right, it's a cost, and it's either I pay for it from donations, so thank you, Comerica Bank, Independent Financial, all of the donors, and the companies like AE Media Group who give in-kind donations. If it wasn't for the donors and the grants and the people who felt in alignment with our cause, we couldn't provide free financial literacy workshops and free personal development workshops, and then broadcast it globally. So I say that is when I look at some of the challenges that I'm faced with, which is always getting more donations, right? I go back and I look at, have I executed my marketing plan in getting grants? Have I executed my marketing plan in developing relationships with donors, right? And I see where I failed. And so where I failed is, have I built a team that can do these things and not just have it all be reliant on me? So in all of those areas, I can definitely improve, right? So I'm being transparent with you because I know that there's somebody out there that's hearing me. But going out and getting a mentor, going out, if you have the finances to get the coach, investing in these things are important. And if you feel like your business is viable, and people, we were talking about this before, people who are hesitant in getting a loan, as a financial advisor, I'm not going to encourage you to get a loan if you haven't done the work.
Yes.
If you don't know on paper that you've got a business that can make money and can pay back the loan, you shouldn't be getting a loan, right? Because you're just going to get in debt.
Yeah.
You've got to do the work in advance, because banks and even other institutions that give you a break on your credit score to give you loans, they don't want to give you a loan and have it not be paid back.
Yes, exactly. And actually, I partner with financial institutions as a coach to make sure their clients can pay their money back, because my goal is to help them increase their profits, build high-performing teams, and reduce their work hours so that they're not working in their business, but on that actual plan and that vision, that 5 to 10 things that a business owner is doing every single day that they don't have to do, they can give those roles over. So if you have the strategic plan in the beginning, if your business plan includes, first of all, a lot of business owners do not pay themselves. Writing that payroll budget into it, writing equipment costs into your business plan, everything that you're gonna need to down to your toothbrush, everything should be considered. How do you show up to your audience, right? So all those things should be considered. And earlier you mentioned that there are resources provided in the community, like SBA and SBE. However, in doing your research, remember that business coaches and consultants are not historically sought after. We began in around about the 1800s, but it's business coaching and consulting is becoming more prevalent because we now have the history of entrepreneurship, whereas in 2023, 5 million business start, but only 1.2 million actually make it to 2024. So that demand, the history of that demand comes in where more coaches and consultants are needed. So it's not a readily available resource in the community. So I want you to give yourself grace, because even those professionals that are available in our community, they don't exactly deal with the operations. Yes, they're great with helping you get a plan together. Yes, they're great with helping you with your ideology around being an entrepreneur and providing services in the community. However, business consultant and coaches help you on the operations themselves, how to run a payroll budget, how to hire, just the small little details that go into how to delegate your time. So time mastery, destination mastery, delegation mastery, where you're a master at delegating those things that are in your head and realizing that that's an actual role. So in speaking to you with what you have going on, you're at a stage where you've learned some things about your business, and restructuring is, there's no set time frame in restructuring. There are some businesses that restructure every month. There are some businesses that restructure every year, and some of them restructure every 10 years. Just depends on what they have going on and if they're able to make it through those seasons without. And testing and measuring is one of the most important things you can do in business. Testing what works, measuring what that impact looks like in your business, and starting the process all over again with what was successful and doing away with all the things that we failed at. So give yourself grace in where you are, and know that you have created a network of individuals that will ultimately get you to a point where your dreams are coming through your vision, which is Empower Series.
Thank you for giving me grace. So there's a few things I want to do before we wrap, though. I want to share more about where we are with the Empower Series and kind of be transparent. But also, if people want to get in touch with you, beneath the video is a link to your LinkedIn account. Okay, but if someone wants to just reach out to you, is there any other way besides LinkedIn you would like people to get in touch with you?
For right now, LinkedIn is the best point of contact. I would be so very grateful if people would just contact me. I am a people person at heart, so questions, concerns, if I didn't have people that I could just reach out to without having to pay them, then I wouldn't even be here. Again, my then boyfriend, husband now, didn't have to teach me the ins and outs of automotive. I was blessed to have someone that was readily available to become my mentor at the time, and I shared interest in what they have going on. Some people are not willing to pull you up, right? So you have to surround yourself around those individuals, who are willing to pull you up. So if you want to contact me, I'm one of those people who don't have any stipulations to you being in contact with me. LinkedIn is the best point of contact. You can also reach me at Dieshia@outlook.com, and we go from there. I really appreciate you having me here, and I look forward to wherever this journey is taking us.
Yeah, so I was thinking as you were talking that there's so much that we can talk about for business. We talked about what was the sales process where you have leads and
Yes, the 5 ways.
The 5 ways, and then
Yes.
there's time management.
Yes.
And so there's so many different things that are important for, I would say, for everybody to know. But back to why I started the Empower series, as a financial advisor, I realized that the financial services companies were not hiring me to work with everyone.
Okay.
They were hiring me to work with people that had a certain amount of money that can take action on my recommendations.
Yes.
But there's a lot of people in our community that are not there. Even people who make good money
Yes.
are not there. And so I felt that there was a group of people who weren't being reached out to. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of free financial literacy courses out there, companies, banks doing that can do a much better job on the resources, with the limited resources that we have, in teaching that information. But I felt that it wasn't being utilized. It was being underutilized. So the Empower series is not to reinvent the wheel. We partner with Money Management International, other professionals like yourself, to take information that the community is not seeking or is not being sought after to provide these services to give them this, to help them take the next step to achieve their goal. So Money Management International is the largest nonprofit organization that provides financial education and consulting in the United States. They come in and do workshops with the Empower series. I have the Small Business Administration come in, and the resource partners do programs. Professionals like yourself may come in and do a workshop on something, right?
Yes.
So I teach people that there are professionals in the community, in every community, that will pour back just like your husband poured into you, right? To help us reach a higher level. And God can only bless people through people.
Yes.
And so if you're not expanding your network and realizing that there are people around you, and we're not being better angel watchers, we're missing on the opportunity and our blessings.
Yes.
So the Empower series is about doing that. We want to give people hope that they can achieve their goals, inspire them to take action, whatever that action might be, educate them, and then connect them to resources to achieve their goals. One of my dreams, as we kind of wrap this up, my dream the other day is that what I want to do is I want to raise enough money to hire a full-time staff.
Yes.
Right, at least an executive director and an administrator, right? And so I was thinking about what to do, and Brent Reeves says, creativity is your answer.
Yes.
So I never done crowdfunding, so I created a GoFundMe page,
Yes.
right? So you'll see a GoFundMe page. I'm gonna put it on the website pretty soon, right? And so the GoFundMe page is specifically to raise $300,000 to hire two full-time staff members. And I woke up the other day thinking that I met the goal. Like, I looked at it and it's like, oh, 300,000, I raised the money. You know, you have a dream and you feel like it's real.
Yeah.
You wake up, you thinking it's real. So I woke up and I looked at it. It's like, it wasn't, it was a dream. So we're doing a program here on taking your dreams and creating reality, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm meeting with the gentleman who franchised Wingstop.
Okay.
Right? So I had lunch scheduled with him Friday, but I'm going to meet with him next week. So again, your network. He's an advocate of the Empower series. And so he franchised Wingstop. So he knows a thing or two about business, about putting together systems. And so I have a plan, and I'm sharing this plan with him, and I'm definitely coachable. So
Yes.
AE Media Group, they give me over $200,000 of in-kind services to do this. I'm meeting with the owner of AE Media Group tomorrow to lay out my plan and be open to advice, right? And so I'm a model of what it is I'm preaching, to where you need to have a network of people that are willing to support you, give you ideas, and you got to be open to take those ideas and get outside your comfort zone, right? If you want to achieve your goal. But that's my dream. I'll have to come back and give you an update on it.
300,000, okay.
Yeah, $300,000, and so it's possible, right? So I have a very big network. So it's a matter of, I believe that it's casting your net wide.
Yeah.
How wide do we cast our net? Because there's people out there that can help everybody take their idea to that next step. It's a matter of, are you bold and daring enough to go out there and and have an idea that you're passionate about. And I say that it's not just about you, but it's about servicing other people.
Yes.
And asking, do you want to partner with me in being a blessing to more people?
Yes.
Right? And so I just wanted to share my dream, put it out there like that.
Well, thank you for sharing it with me. I'm so honored to be here in this moment of time because I know, first of all, I get the sense that you're completely genuine, you're authentic, and one of the things about being a coach and living in my purpose and knowing that this is a God-given purpose for me is understanding people's genuinity and authenticity around what they're doing. And I adopt that passion. So that's one of the downsides to it. Not saying that because it's a downside, it's a bad thing, but adopting other people's vision is something, as a coach, that's what takes us. As coaches, you've been a consultant before. You understand. Sometimes you adopt those passions. So I'm right now saying in front of the world that I'm adopting this vision, and I'm passionate for what you're trying to do, and whatever way that I can and within my network assist you. Then even if it's just prayer and my support in this very moment. And I'm signing off on that right here.
It's going to happen. So shall it be said. So
300,000. I'm with
yes,
you.
and here's the thing. So the Empower Series is all about this. And here's what I want. Here's my call out to the Empower Series community. The goal in building relationships is to build trusting relationships.
Yes, we do business with people we know, like, and trust.
Exactly. And so when we're meeting each other, it's not like I'm meeting you and I'm going, hey, can you do this for me? Like, can you donate some money? Right?
Yeah.
That's not my ask. My ask is, let me get to know you. Let me see how, again, our collaboration can result in blessing more lives.
Yes.
That's the purpose.
That's literally your message to me.
Yeah, and so what I'm trying to do with the Empower Series community, I'm not trying to do it. What I'm doing with this Empower Series community is I'm creating a community that says, hey, whatever you need, if you need that next step, you have access to my network of people.
Yes.
So let's get to know each other. Let's pour in. Let's get what you're supposed to get from the Empower Series, number one. Let's share it with other people because there's other people around you that can benefit from this. And the only way they're going to find out is if you know them. Let's educate ourselves because let's be open to that. No matter how much you know, there's always something else you can learn. And then the key is let's connect you to the next resource that's going to help you take that next step. So whether it's mentoring, whether it's coaching, whether it's consulting, whether it's Dieshia, right? Whatever it is, now you have access. And I want you to come back if that's okay. I want you to come back because I think there's other things we can talk about for people who are at different levels of their business that can, help them, right? I don't want this to be like I always say, this is not the end, this is the beginning.
Yeah.
Right, so let's come up with some way of, again, blessing more people. That's what I want our collaboration to do, if you're cool with that.
I'm absolutely cool with it. I was looking at the things that you sent me and writing certain things down, and it was so much in an alignment of what I want to convey to the public, so I'm all in.
All right. See, this is all good. It's all God, right? All God.
All God. We come of His initiative, not of our own.
There you go. We just got to listen. I go like, was that you guys talking? Like, was that you?
Most times.
Got to do a better job listening, right? Yeah. So I want to thank you, again, thank you for spending a portion of your life with the Empower Series. I know it was a long drive to come down here, so thank you very much. Also want to thank you for watching because you are the Empower Series. There's no way we can do this if you weren't involved. Go to our website, www.empowerseries.com. You'll see our schedule of events coming up. Tonight, it's not out there now, but tonight I'm going to put a link out there because I was recently interviewed by the civil rights icon, Dr. Benjamin Chavis Jr. I was interviewed on his program, The Chavis Chronicles, and where he talked about the Empower Series, or he asked me about the Empower Series and what my purpose was. And so it's a great, great interview. I always critique myself, but other people are telling me that it was great. It was a great interview because it gave me an opportunity to articulate my purpose. And if you could help by sharing that with other people to cast the net wider so we can increase our impact and our awareness, that would be fabulous. So I'm going to put that on the website. The link to that is going to be underneath the video as well. But please stay connected with us. Hope this has been very valuable. We poured into you. The most respectful thing that you can do from the ideas that you got from this video is to take action. So whatever that is, you got your pen and paper, take some action. So I know I'm taking some actions right now. And I would ask you to go ahead and watch this again, because when you shut this down and do something else, the next short or whatever you got to do in your life, you're going to lose, 70% of this.
Yes.
So that's why we record everything, so you can come back and review it again, take notes, and put it into action. I want to thank you again. Don't hesitate. If you do want to go to our website, and if you've been a part of the Empower Series, we are trying to get a survey of the impact of the Empower Series. So on the top right-hand corner, click survey. If you want to find out what's coming up next, you'll see the program of our events. If you care to give and make a donation, there's a donate button in the top left-hand corner. Yes. Oh, and if you want to text to give, you can text to give by texting give or donate to 214-225-6337. But all that information is available. But more importantly, get what you're supposed to get from the Empower Series. Until we meet again, be empowered and inspired to thrive. Thank you.